Today, Stowe and I are joined by Push and Jimmy, which feels very appropriate for our topic, which is how to rest. And I know, okay, all right, thank you. Thank you. Respect the boundary. All right, thank you. He's looking at me like, what? But I think like we tell people to rest all the time, and then but how? And it feels maybe strange to not know how to rest, but a lot of us don't, because we haven't been encouraged to rest. We receive all these like guilt trips and like false ideas about rest. And so what we're going to get into today is, yes, I think a lot of us know that rest is important. No one's going to be like, rest is bad. What we're going to get into is kind of like, how can you make it part of your life? How do we understand the blocks and the barriers? What works for me and Stowe as we've been trying to, unlearn some of the guilt around rest. If you're here with us live, hi, hello, and welcome. If you're watching after the fact, also hi, hello, and welcome. The chat is always open. The comments are always open. This space exists for community, and we thank you for being part of our community. If it's valuable to you, like and share and hit that subscribe, because part of this is creating new norms in the music industry, because it doesn't have to be so shitty. None of this like, oh, I could die. What do they say? I could sleep when I'm dead, and I can blah, 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 blah. So how to rest?
Buddy, you gotta chill, buddy. I'm begging you. Okay. Okay. Thank you, bud. Yes. The industry again is you're always told hustle and bustle, and if you're not working, what are you doing? And But even now, even when I consult with my clients and stuff like that, I tell them rest is it's not negotiable. That is part of the grind. And I think and again, with how society works and stuff like that, like it's sometimes it is hard to feel like that. And I do talk to a lot of artists who say like, oh, like rest is a reward, and like I shouldn't be resting unless X, Y, Z. And it's just like, no. I remember when I used to think like that. I remember when I had that same mentality, but that's how you burn out. And once you burn out, God, I hate saying this, but like as much as it affects you, it affects everybody around you as well. And so getting rest is extremely important, not just for your own sake, but for everyone around you's sake as well.
I mean, that part, right? Like I hear so many people treat rest as a reward, or as like a final, like it has to be so bad before I can rest. Like how terrible. Like I will rest, but it's got to be like this bad. No, y'all, like rest is a preventative. Rest is as necessary as sleeping, eating, drinking water, right? Like you're not going to drink water after you've become dehydrated. You're going to drink water so that you don't get dehydrated. And that's, rest kind of fits in that same thing. And so, it serves so many, not that everything has to be productive, right? Like it doesn't, but rest actually serves a purpose. And I'm not just talking about like, I go to sleep and I get 8 hours. I'm talking about allowing your like mind to be at ease. I'm talking about letting your nervous system not be on edge. And so there's a lot of things I think in the creative spaces that we do that keep us in the state of always like, like always anxious, always, because we're scrolling and worried about what other people are doing, because we're feeling like, oh, we should be here, but we're here. Like, and so rest is so foundational, and it's also multidimensional. It's physical, it's emotional, it's cognitive, it's all the things. And so the first thing I hope people take away from today's episode is that rest is not a reward, and it's not a last case scenario. It's a frontline defense and protection and self-care and tool for inspiration. Like I get a lot of artists who are like, oh, I don't feel inspired. And if I ask them, well, like, are you resting? And they say no. Well, inspiration is not going to hit when you're on edge and hypervigilant and exhausted and burnt out. And so that's the first thing, is like, if like the question is how to rest, step one is to just change how you think and feel about rest and understand it as like a foundational, basic necessity, not a luxury. Rest is not a luxury.
It made on backwards. Oh my God. And exactly. And so like you know, mentioned how it's as important as drinking water and all that. Like the same energy you're putting into the studio, as crazy as this sounds, you should be putting into the rest. You can't be your best self in the studio if you aren't getting rest. And I actually love what you said here. I wasn't really thinking about it like that, but like this is true. Rest isn't just about the sleep you're getting. It's not just about those 8 hours. Some of us in this chat could stand to hold some of that information true, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But it really is giving yourself a chance to power down, like be away from everything, and actually like it's not even just about like, you know, getting sleep. It's about refreshing your thoughts and refreshing your mind, getting away from all the stuff that you're doing and hustling and bustling around day. And so it's a need. It is a need. And I think sometimes we forget that. And I'm starting to realize, even through like, you know, other means and stuff, like I learned that from college. I realized that's where I picked that up from, where like you need to be studying for 8 different classes every single fucking day, and you have an exam every fucking week. And if you slow down for even a millisecond, you're going to fall behind, or you're going to miss a lesson, or you're going to miss a chapter, or fail a test or whatever. And then that just trickles down from there. That's where I realized I learned that from, on like a grander scale, where it's like, it feels like you can't stop. But obviously others have learned it way before that.
But what you made me think of is like, I remember in school and they would give awards for perfect attendance. Like
I missed it by one day.
See how much we
triggered.
learned to take it so seriously. And like, why? If I was sick, I'm supposed to come. If I don't feel good, I'm still supposed to come to school. If I'm having like, I'm going through some shit, I'm supposed to come to school. It gets indoctrinated into us at such a young age. I say this all the time when I'm talking about anti-capitalism, but like, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Who benefits from this thought? If you don't rest, you're not benefiting. Your friends and family and fans are not benefiting. So like, who's really benefiting from you working yourself to a point of exhaustion? And I'm not talking about like, I understand that for some of us, how do I say this? Like, rest does not have to be this inaccessible thing, right? Like rest, I think sometimes we think that like, well, I don't have the privilege, or I don't have the time, or I don't have, but that's a lot of that is like us being told that rest comes from outside things. Go give yourself a spa day, spend all this money on candles, like take a bath as if we all have bathtubs, like that kind of thing. Really what we're talking about is that kind of like internal rest. How do you just like give yourself a chance to not do anything and let your body feel like there's no danger, no harm, no risk, nothing like that? And so I think one of the first things after you've started to shift your own ideas about rest is to really plan time for it. Make time for rest. Like put it on your calendar the same way you put your studio time, your, you know, like kids' doctor's appointment, the same way you make sure you walk your dog. Like put that on your calendar. And it doesn't have to be 1,000,000 hours. I used to work with people who were caregivers, and like, it's really hard when you're a caregiver to take time for yourself. And so what we would talk about is like, take 5 minutes, take your phone into the bathroom, lock the door, because oftentimes it's the only room in the house with a lock, and like give yourself a 5-minute dance party. That 5 minutes will help sustain you if you can't take 30 minutes, if you can't take an hour. So sometimes I think we feel like it has to be like this perfect version of rest, or it has to be like all or nothing. And this is true, obviously transferable skill, not just for rest, but with like anything else that you might be doing, projects, start small, give yourself a couple minutes. You know, maybe it's waking up in the morning and meditating, or maybe it's stretching while you're doing something. Shout out to Linda Starr, who's joining us, who says, this is so needed. So change how you think about rest, but also like build it into your day in the most like easy ways that you can. And then you can grow and you could build. But part of what that does is if you're going from never resting, the idea of being at rest can actually be really fucking scary.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Nervous system is always go, go, go. And you're like, but what about this? And what about this? And what about this? Your brain is going to want to keep you in that state because it thinks that it's protecting you. Now, not everything you think is true. Trauma lies. So for a lot of us, like, we might think we need to, we might believe that we can't rest, but you have to kind of earn your nervous system's trust. And so 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there can make a big difference in building up what that trust can feel like. Shout out to Natalie, who's here tuning in from the comforts of bed, like no shame, right? But yeah, so that, just to recap, like do it in small pieces so that your brain, your body, your nervous system gets used to rest and feels like it's okay if you're not on edge and on guard and doing all the time, because it takes time to kind of release that hold that so many of us have.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold you. It's triggered by the perfect attendance. I literally missed it by one day because I got a concussion playing basketball. But exactly, like, that rest is important. It's so important. And so when you're, it sounds crazy. I remember hearing stuff like this. Like, hey, like, you should put it into your schedule, like you put it in with everything else. I'm just like, yeah, right. Like, why would I do that? Like, I'll get around to it. Like, it just happen naturally. But like, that's low key, I think, what, the powers, the niggas controlling everything want. They want us to be burnt out. They want us to not be able to, they want us to be just, again, march, work all day, burn yourself out until you literally are grinded to dust. And again, like I said before, you're affecting everybody around you now. Everybody's getting cooked. And so planning it is really, it helps. It really does, because at absolute minimum, it's now like you're seeing it. I think for some of us, we need to see on our, I mean, I got my damn to-do list right here. Like, to see, like, hey, rest is part of what you're doing, like, period, end of story. And I think, and like Nora said, it takes time to adjust to that. I think even I had to be like, yeah, okay, like, it's all right if we slow down for even 10. And I think that's part of it too, is slowing down. Like, I think a lot of us are, it has to be done now. It has to be done now. And I'll throw this in terms of like the rest stuff is like, you don't have to smash everything into 24 hours. It's okay if you break that one giant task up into a bunch of different parts. I'm not going to hold you. Even my mama used to tell me that, like, yo, you're always trying to do everything so quickly and at once that, like, you're stressing yourself out when you can split it up. And that was partly because I was doing things at the last minute, but that's neither here nor there. And so you split it up, and in that way, you actually have more of that time. I think that's the other part, is where if you try to cram so much into one day, you actually find yourself not being as productive as you probably would have been had you split it up and giving yourself, again, that time to rest. And you'll be surprised to find how much time you have to rest when you split things up like that. And so, again, plan it out like you plan everything else out, and you'll be surprised how you make time for it versus trying to just squeeze it in between your busy ass schedule.
It's like building a habit, right? Like learning how to rest is really like building a habit. And the things that we know that science says helps people build habit is intentionality, is planning ahead. So the other thing, like, if you think about, well, what are my barriers to resting? The other thing is like, well, what do I do? Do I just like lay there and look at the ceiling? Like, so think about like, what does rest mean? And I struggle with this where I'm like, no, I am resting, until someone was like, no, you're doing like 25 million things. And I was like, oh, so there's different kinds of rest. And, like, the next level of this conversation is figuring out, how do you give yourself the different kinds? But if we're talking about like the beginning, getting started, write down 3 or 4 or 5 things. And I'm like, write it down, make a list. This is what makes me feel restful. Write it down so that when you're like, all right, here's my 5 minutes, this is what I'm going to do. Is that I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. 20 minutes is like a really sweet spot to get rest and like feel rejuvenated. Is it a nap? Is it doing a little dance break and like moving your body? Is it being outside and staring at the trees and the clouds and just like laying out in nature? Is it putting your phone away for a while and, you know, coloring or doodling or sketching? Think about what is it for you that has no like external value, no like productive necessity other than doing this thing makes you feel calm and makes you feel present and makes you feel good. It can honestly even be like watching TV with the intention of, I'm going to watch my show. I'm going to feel good about it. I'm doing this as an act of self-care rather than like I'm watching TV to tune out. So, oh, Jimmy, both Stowe and I have our dogs today and it's very exciting. All the pushes. Jimmy wants to snuggle and Push is like passed out snoring. I don't know if y'all can hear him. But so change how you at least like become aware of how you think about rest, build the time into your schedule intentionally, start with small chunks, and then have a list of things that are restful for you. So you don't have to carry the mental load of, now what do I do? Oh, I got to rest. Well, what do I do? I already thought about it ahead of time.
And that's a real thing. That's like a real thing. Like, I think I had to do that because it's, in my head, I'm like, well, I like playing video games and I like reading and I like doing this. And then, of course, when the time comes to rest, I'm like, well, what game do I play? Well, what book do I read? Well, and it sounds crazy, but it's like, give yourself, like, plan that stuff out. Like, it sounds dumb, but in my notebook, I literally have what I'm reading right now, what I should be reading. Like, don't fall into, it's easy to walk into the library and be like, oh my God, I have so many books, I don't know what to read. And then next thing you know, I spent 20 minutes trying to pick and I didn't rest. I actually, the what is it called? Like a decision anxiety or something. That's not the term. I just made that up. Just takes over. So like planning it out and saying like, okay, this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm going to play or whatever. It just gives me the chance to just be like, okay, I wrote down what I'm doing right now. Let's just do it. And you a lot of it, as with unfortunately a lot of other things in life, it's just about starting. Once you get started, it's very easy to just kind of fall into that. And it's the same with this type of stuff. And so planning it out, genuinely, it sounds wild. And again, if I'd love to call my mom, hey mom, I'm planning out how to rest. She would lose her mind. But like it's required. It is necessity. It's something maybe some of our parents should learn and stuff like that. And so, give yourself that permission. And you'll be surprised. And actually, again, the intentionality behind it, you'd be surprised how much that actually does for you in the long run versus, again, feeling like you have like when you're adjusting to resting and stuff like that, it is very easy to be like, oh my God, like I'm supposed to be like, I'm not being productive. I'm not like moving my shit forward if I'm resting and stuff like that. And so like, it really does, you have to train your mind to get out of that. And so, giving yourself permission to do so is important. And boom, here we go. Yeah.
Yes. Sensei says, I plan and schedule 20-minute naps every day just to recharge. Here's the thing, y'all, like our brains are really kind of lazy. Like our nervous systems want to take the path of least resistance. And so when you're trying to build a new habit, it's going to be, and Stowe, you were talking about like how difficult a transition can be. That's because our brain is like, I'm doing this. I want to keep doing this. This is just easy. So now here you are and you're like, no, we're going to go this way. So planning ahead, having the decisions already made makes the going from this to this easier. And eventually the brain will learn, oh, well, last time I went like this and it was fine. And then I went like this and it was fine. And I kind of liked it. And so then eventually, instead of going like this all the time, right? The interruptive thoughts, the resistance, it goes like this because it has now learned that this is better than this. So it is like the resistance is not a personal failure.
Exactly.
It really is like our nervous systems, the way our brains are designed, is our brains just want to take these shortcuts. And so this is why when you're like trying to find something to watch on TV and there's like 25 million options and you just like, fuck it, you get overwhelmed, because it's harder to go like this when there's so many choices. So like pick one show, make that your rest show, and watch that. It's why so many of us like watch things we've already rewatched. My current comfort rewatch, I'm doing Game of Thrones again. Why? Because there's so many episodes.
Oh God.
I don't know
That's
why.
your rest show?
Yeah. Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because there's so many episodes. They're an hour long. So I don't have to think about what am I going to watch? What am I going to do? And it's like mentally interesting and stimulating enough that I can be into it without like, it interrupts my brain from thinking about all the other stuff, because there's enough newness to keep my attention. And it's been incredibly helpful, especially now I'm in this like season of transition and grief. It's been really helpful to have that. So no judgment, no shame, whatever it is that works for you. Maybe it's like a puzzle, maybe it's a fidget spinner, like whatever it is, allow yourself to build a new habit.
Buddy.
Allow yourself to take that time to build a new habit, because your body's not going to want to rest if it's used to you just being on all the time.
Exactly. I don't know what he's doing right now. He's usually never this like clingy and shit. So he sums up. But okay, there you go. Do you want to say
rest?
Want to talk about rest?
We love it, right? We tell our friends to rest. Oh my goodness, Jimmy. Guys, while Jim is here, I'm going to take a quick time out to say that if you are finding value in this episode or any of our other 110, this is episode 111 episodes. Stowe and I do this for the love, but if you want to send us a tip or a donation, you can send that to Venmo or CashApp or anywhere, and that gets shared between me and Stowe. I would love to hear from folks in the comments when you watch this after the live stream. What has worked for you in terms of rest? What are your hacks, your tricks, your go-tos? I think it's one of those things that people are like, yeah, well, I don't know what to do. We've shared some ideas in this episode, but if there's anything that you find restful, share it. Share it in the comments. Our next episode is about collaboration etiquette, and I think that's going to be really interesting to talk about. So come back next Tuesday. Yeah, not next Tuesday, 2 Tuesdays from now. We're here every other week.
My little guy. Listen, it's ironic that my little guy's here, because this little guy taught me how to rest, because he's the one that's like, yo, I can't be staying up till 2 a.m. no more. I need to go to bed. I'm out by 11 o'clock or something like that. And so like even this little guy taught me how to slow down a little bit and understand that, like, honestly, you need some rest. You can rest with me, buddy. And so please, like, if you don't take literally anything else from this conversation, stop letting rest be a reward. Rest is a need. It's to get where we want to get, we have to rest. In order to unfortunately resist all the shit that's going on outside, we have to rest. And so I give yourself that space. Plan it out. Here's some homework for you. Even if you just plan out rest for at least a day or two in this next upcoming week. Just plan something for yourself. I don't care if it's, I'm going to look at the wall for 30 minutes. Whatever it is. And even again, write down a couple things that you, not just things you like to do, but like these specifics of it. If you like to read, what book are you going to read next? If there's TV time and stuff like that, like what show, what game, what are you going to do to make sure that you rest, even if it's just for a half hour or so? Give yourself that permission, and you'd be surprised how much that impacts you and stuff like that.
As always, Stowe and I are here for one-on-one coaching and consulting. If you're trying to figure out how to build out your creative entrepreneurship, we have a ton, more than 20 years combined between the two of us. We've got a bunch of episodes. Please go back and watch them. We respond to all the comments. And if there's things you want to see from us in the future, episodes or topics or things that are on your mind, let us know, because Office Hours is designed to be interactive and for the community. Follow us on our socials at Big Stow, at NoraRahimian, and take some time to rest, drink some water, stretch, journal, feel your feelings. And we will see you back in 2 weeks. Bye, friends.
Peace, everyone. Every time the episode just